Over to you.
Awesome, thank you. I have wonderful help making sure that everything is shared. I really, really appreciate it actually though. It's the whole Windows and Mac situation, and I don't use Macs, I use Windows. So, um, hi all. My name is Becky Banks, and I am the website product manager at Oozle Media. So I've been told it would be a shame to not include my cats in the introduction. So I thought I would start with these two. The black and white one is Peaches. She's the one below. And the default black cat is Remy. He's my roommate's cat. This is their favorite place to hang out, and they mostly get along. Also, this is the most Utah thing. So this is at the Tracy Aviary, and the amount of joy I had when I got a parakeet on me, I was so excited. I just thought it'd be fun to share how much of a big nerd I am. So moving on to actual presentation stuff, I just want to preface this with the fact that I'm not a developer. I always feel a little weird being like, oh, I'm on the web team, but actually I don't know how to code. So but as per the introduction, I am in charge of making sure that our websites actually get the results our clients are looking for. Um, the results being that they get a much bigger return on their investment. So let's see. First, let's start with how much do websites cost? If you Google how much does the website cost, there are multiple tools, calculators, charts, tables that all use roughly the same numbers. So here's an example of one with a project scope that would be roughly the size of a typical beauty school website. So we're talking 10 to 25 pages, a simple but responsive design. There's no e-commerce shop, which means you don't offer products on your website. And it's a standard CMS. CMS is a content management system, so think WordPress. Based on this website, you could be looking anywhere from a low price of $14,500 or a high cost of $24,750. Another article I read said small businesses will be looking to spend anywhere from under $1,000 to $48,000 to build their website. Of course, a lot of these numbers are under the assumption that you're hiring an agency. There's more on that later. So realistically, the range for your website is anywhere from $500 to $50,000. So why is there such a large spending window? It's because there are so many options out there. You can build your website yourself with the help of a visual builder like Squarespace, Wix, Webflow. You can buy a website template for less than $100, or you can hire a freelancer. What we know is that there are very free or very cheap options you can choose from, but not all websites are created equal. Before we dive into who should build your website, here's another piece of the puzzle. Your website will always have monthly costs. So here's what you can expect to spend even before you found a developer. Your domain, of course, is literally the name of your website. Sites and companies like GoDaddy offer domains for around $10 to $20 per year. Website hosting, this is where your site files live. They can be as cheap as a few dollars a month or closer to $100 per month. While you don't need to purchase expensive hosting, choosing a good hosting provider can dramatically improve your website's speed and decrease unintended downtime. The SSL certificate is a must-have. Sometimes your domain or hosting might offer a free SSL, or you may have to pay for it separately. If you've ever heard of sites with HTTP or HTTPS versions, the SSL is actually the S part of HTTPS. It verifies with search engines that your site is secure, and without it, it will hurt your rankings. Side note, if a company ever says that they will purchase and manage your domain for you with their funds, do not do it. While it's convenient while working with that company, you will run into problems whenever you switch companies, and it can cause a whole lot of issues when buying a new website from someone else. So, now that you have the technical side of your website covered, it's time to determine who is going to be building your website. I'll be talking about the three main options, which is doing it yourself, which is the cheapest option. You can hire a freelancer, which is the middle option, or you can choose an agency, which is the most expensive option. The right provider is totally dependent on what's most important for your school. Do you need more students right now? Do you want something that looks amazing? Or is there something else that's super important about how your brand is portrayed online? So, when working with any business, you are limited in speed, quality, and cost. You will never have something fast, high quality, and cheap. Instead, you can get at most 2 out of the 3, although sometimes you might only get 1 out of 3. I found multiple names for this online, the iron triangle, quality triangle, the unattainable triangle, but it's all the same. You can have something fast and high quality, which will be expensive. You can have something fast and cheap, which will be low quality, Or you can have something cheap and good quality, which means it's a low priority and will be done slowly. So let's walk through the three options we have, again, going back to that DIY, freelancer, and agency choices in relation to this triangle. So if you were to do your website yourself, it's less about the cost and more about the time spent making your website. Depending on the experience of your team, it could take a few hours from start to finish, or it could take a few weeks of hard work. So you'll notice that the speed of the build is both a pro and a con, depending on how busy you or your team are. The biggest advantages to DIY options are that you are the one who made it, which means you own it and you can make any necessary changes like updating school catalogs or other compliance documents. However, you may be limited in certain design elements depending on the purchase theme or software. It may also require a monthly subscription to keep running. I know Wix in particular requires a pro version to remove their branding. So looking at the triangle, you can for sure get a cheap site and you may be able to build one fast, but quality is going to be a little bit iffy. A new option that has been, hitting the internet like a storm is that you can literally build a website in less than 5 minutes with these AI builders. So this was an example of one tool that I used, but Squarespace has their own AI website builder where you can plug your school's information and choose which sections you want to include, and then bam, it's got a basic outline done for you. However, keep in mind that AI will always produce generic content and it doesn't understand your business. We had a few sessions before talking about how much stuff you have to plug in to an AI platform in order for it to be able to spit something out that sounds like you. So you will always have to review its output and make major edits to make it match your school's brand and voice. So my personal philosophy with AI is if it takes you less time to review the output than if you were to write it yourself, go ahead and use an AI builder. If it takes you more time to review the AI output than it would to write or just build it yourself, don't use AI. The whole point of AI is an idea generation. It also is a great time saver. If it's not generating ideas or saving you time, it's not worth it to use. So here's another big red flag with AI builders. Depending on the tool, it might not have the functionality to integrate with crucial tools like your CRM. So take companies offering to build a website in 5 minutes with a grain of salt. It most likely will be more trouble than it's worth. So the next option, of course, you have is hiring a freelancer. This could be a friend, or you can also find a potential freelancer on Fiverr, Upwork, any of those freelancer platforms. The biggest advantages of choosing a freelancer are exactly the cons of DIYing your website. Saves you time, it can be completed fast, and there's not usually an additional monthly management or maintenance fee. You may be able to find someone who specializes in your industry, although that in itself can be a huge time sink, finding the right partner. The biggest cons are just like you don't have to pay for maintenance, that also means you might not have regular access to support after your site is finished. You might not also have the guarantee that you can edit the finished product, which again is very important for beauty schools in particular because of all the website updates that need to happen to stay compliant if your school is accredited. I did a quick search on Fiverr to see what top freelancers were offering and their prices. As you can see, it looks great on paper, from $200, from $95, but you have to read the fine print. Most of these freelancers offered less than a week before delivery. That's great, but you're also looking at only 1 to 4 pages for a website at most as their base price. What we know about beauty school websites is even with one location who only offers a few programs, you should be having around 10 pages. They only offer content uploads, which means they're not writing content for you. And we've already talked, Patrick covered about how important good content is on your website. And then freelancers who don't specialize, and then of course, finding freelancers who specialize in beauty schools. Freelancers don't specialize in beauty school websites unless you do some extensive searching. Now let's go on to the most expensive option, that is agencies. So there are a few different types of agencies, which can also change the cost of your website. Some agencies only focus on website and design and development. They'll probably be cheaper. Others are a one-stop shop where they can build your website, offer SEO services, manage social media accounts, and run paid ads for your school. The biggest advantage of hiring an agency to do your website is that it's like you've hired an entire marketing team for your school. So we know that they have a professional team to answer questions and help troubleshoot. I have absolutely no idea why websites are the most volatile digital product. They always seem to break for no reason. And an agency, of course, can help you with that. Some agencies also offer support or regular maintenance for your website. And then most importantly, finding the right agency is the best chance of getting great results. If you find an agency that specializes in your industry, that means they have the data and understand what works and what doesn't to build a product to help you get the biggest return on your investment. However, the biggest cons of agencies are they are much more expensive, well over 10 times as much as a freelancer. The other thing is that they're not usually very fast. Websites through an agency can take anywhere from a few months to over a year to complete. You also have to be just as careful when looking for a partner because, again, some agencies don't let you own your website. That means if you ever break ties with that agency, they will take your website down, which is not great. So, why do websites cost so much more by choosing an agency versus DIYing or freelancing options? So, the biggest advantage, of course, is what you're paying for. Unlike DIY options or freelancers, where you're paying for just the software or just the developer, at an agency, you receive an extensive website process to verify what you purchased matches the quality of what you paid for. So you have, of course, you have a project manager, you have a web designer, you have someone writing the content, and then there's also going to be a lot of processes in place to make sure that your product works. Um, uh, Other freelancers or DIY might not have as extensive of systems. So you'll also have, a dedicated team to work on your website project. So the project manager walks you through the process, a web designer, a web developer. Yes, they're two very different skills. The copywriter and an SEO expert to verify that your new website is set up for success. I can't tell you how many times we've run into websites where it's like they're either not set up to crawl on Google, or I think I found another website where they literally had the development environment live as the same time as the real website. And so they have two similar websites already pulling up on Google, and it's like, that's not good. You also have access to professional tools that you don't have to pay for yourself. For example, Oozle websites come with the access to our Elite license in Gravity Forms. That costs $259 per year if you want the option to be able to connect it to your CRM. Now, let's talk about, we know that it's expensive, so let's talk about where you can skimp on your website costs and what you really shouldn't be saving on. So here's the tea. Agencies will tout that this and that WordPress is the best, Wix sucks, Squarespace is okay, Shopify is great for shops. While there are pros and cons to each platform, all can get the job done if done right. The real answer is that you should instead be focusing on three key things. Is your website fast? Does your website's content meet Google's standards? Can people easily provide you their information by using your website, CRO? Honorable mentions, of course, include, can you easily update the content on your website? Very important for compliance. And then also, do you own your domain, website, and hosting? If your website doesn't meet these 5 standards, chances are you should probably invest in a new website or find a company to help you improve your current website. So think about this. Is your website fast? Think about when you use a website you aren't familiar with. If your screen is still blank after 1 to 2 seconds, your immediate reaction is this broken? Then inevitably you go back to your search results and click the next result. When you bounce back to your search page, that sends signals to Google that the website you visited isn't good, and it can hurt your rankings in the long run. If you want to know how your site measures up to Google's standards, Google provides a free tool called Page Speed Insights. It provides a score for mobile and desktop you or your website developer can use as a guideline to find ways to improve your site's speed. You will never score 100, and that's okay. Even Google sites themselves don't rank at 100. I think we roughly aim for scores around 85, but in my opinion, you just want to have a faster website than your direct competitors. So here are Google's 3 site speed factors. Largest contentful paint measures how quickly the largest element on a page loads. First input delay measures how quickly a page responds to user input. And cumulative layout shift measures the visual stability of a page elements. So in normal terms, we want something to show up within the first second or two when someone visits your website. If the screen stays white or has to show some type of spinning loading element, your site is slow. We want buttons and website hovers to react quickly. Users should be able to see that your site is usable and not feel like it's frozen or unresponsive. And then you don't want your website to change its layout as elements load in. Like say you're reading one paragraph and it suddenly moves up because the block underneath it loaded in. It is okay if you don't understand what these are and how to fix them. What's more important is that you have a partner who can help meet Google's standards or at least help your site be better than your competitors. Keep in mind, how your website is built isn't the only factor to site speed. Your hosting plays a factor in it too. Hopefully, again, your website provider can also help advise you when a better hosting plan is needed too. Next, create people-first content, not search engine-first content. So from Google's guidelines, do you have an existing or intended audience for your business or site that would find the content useful if they came directly to you? Does your content clearly demonstrate firsthand expertise and a depth of knowledge? For example, expertise that comes from having actually used a product or service or visiting a place? Does your site have a primary purpose or focus? After reading your content, will someone leave feeling like they've learned enough about a topic to help achieve their goal? Will someone reading your content leave feeling like they've had a satisfying experience? The way I think about this is, do your site visitors feel like they found the right place? Do they know who you are, what you offer, why they should choose you over your competitors, and how to take an action on your website? Going back to whether you should do your own website, hire a freelancer, or find an agency, I have seen time and time again that content is an afterthought. Like, we'll just slap on generic content and not think too hard about what words go on the site. Or in the other extreme, that it has to be so full of beauty school near me keywords to signal to Google, hey, I'm a beauty school, rank me #1. Don't do it. Find a partner who follows Google's published content guidelines. Google has multiple resources about what they consider good content that their algorithm will push to the top. Now, CRO. Is your website optimized for conversions? I gave a whole presentation on this last year, but here are some fun results for Oozle clients that we could calculate conversion rate from. So we, of course, do our best to figure out if what we are doing works. We always want to have a data-backed approach. So we saw increases from anywhere from under 4% to over 9%. And even we saw a 3% conversion rate go to a 10% conversion rate. While these numbers are great, I wanted to give a little context to what an increase like this could mean for your school. Now, I know marketing doesn't occur in a vacuum. You can't expect the number of site visitors to stay the same per month, and you can't also expect to double leads and have your admissions team keep up that same enrollment rate. However, for this example, say that the only thing that increased was conversion rate. If you're enrolling just 6% of your total leads and doubled your conversion rate, that means you would be doubling the number of enrollments too. That's why paying attention to your conversion rate is so important. Now, where is this example realistic? One school saw a 38 times return on ad spend with an enrollment rate of 6%. Those numbers also included spending on paid ads, which was talked about before. And what we know is that your website plays a huge role in that. More leads often leads to more enrollments, which means more revenue for your school. So I won't spend too much time on this. I know I'm sort of running low. I literally took this slide from last year's summit because CRO best practices have not changed from 2023 to 2024. So as a quick recap, here's what we know about successful beauty school websites. Have a call to action above the fold with a color that stands out. We put a form high enough so that people don't have to scroll as much, and it's a game changer. Make sure the navigation is easy to follow so people can find what they're looking for. Focus on the mobile experience. Can they fill out their info on mobile or find what they're looking for? In general, make sure that your site offers a good experience so people, again, know who you are, what you offer, and how they can contact you to schedule a tour or enroll. Now, here's the biggest pain point we hear. Okay, I need a new website. I need results. I need more students. How long is this project going to take? The answer is totally depends. We've had clients take over 2 years to launch their new website. We've also been able to launch a website in exactly 3 months. I believe that's our current record. So think of building a website like buying a newly built home where you involved from planning construction. There's a lot of steps. First, we have to get to know you and your school. What are your goals with the website? What features are must-haves? If it was your home, you might be asking what home layout would work best. Then we move into design, the layout and floor plan of your new website. We mock up what your website will look like, make sure the paint colors match your vision, the cabinets are in the right place, make sure you have enough bedrooms. Just like with the home, we can't necessarily change the layout once we've moved into the building and development stage of your website. As part of the development process, we make sure that everything that we've followed in the design moves into the house itself. We also start adding furniture, which you might consider the content. So just like the construction phase of a house takes the longest, the development phase of the website takes the most time too. It takes a lot of work to build something from start to finish. Once it's built, it's up to the client to sign off and say, yes, our website built matches our vision. Let's move in, let's launch. So we want to get your website right. And since we know that your website is a visual representation of your brand and is the means by which potential students tell you they're interested in enrolling, that means that we have to get proper sign off of each step of the way so we don't break down a wall that's in the wrong spot or repaint because the initial color chosen doesn't match the rest of the house. So if we're talking about a way to speed up the website process, I know I'm running out of time. I'm so sorry. The biggest factor that affects the speed of the project is communication. Following the house analogy, communicate regularly with your agency, like what paint colors, avoid out of scope revisions, what is considered good enough. Choose a dedicated person for website approvals. Provide necessary content and imagery when requested. Like, think about if you hire a decorator, you would provide the images to put on your walls, correct? Find necessary logins for domain and hosting early in the website process. Have you filled out all of the paperwork? We can't tell you how many times we've been ready to launch a website, but don't have the necessary logins to actually make the website live. Websites take a lot more collaboration and time than you might think, but if you're prepared for that, it can make the whole process from start to finish go much faster. Now, I want to talk about a new product we are working on. So we haven't fully finished everything out, but I do want to make sure that if you guys are like, I need a new website, and this is for one location beauty schools who only offer a few programs who have either no website or something that is just not working. So we're creating a new proven layout. So we always call our websites proven layouts because we know they are proven to work. So we are working on changing some of the verbiage where a proven layout is this, what you see is what you get. You get semi-custom content, you get the fonts and colors changed, but you don't get any of the changes of the layout. Think of like a templated townhouse. This is a great option again that we're offering for smaller schools to be able to get something up fast. Of course, if you need something where you're very particular about how you want your website to look, you can also ask us about our semi-custom or custom website options, where we take elements of our proven layout but make them fancier. We'll be happy to give you quotes. So that's it. I'm so sorry for taking too much time. If you have questions or if you need a new website, email me. I'll get you in touch with the right people. We want to make sure that you guys are getting leads in your websites.
You guys, Becky is the genius behind the Ouzle Media website. So show her some love.